Hi there everyone, Lars back with another review and analysis for Kimi wa Meido-sama, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends, and this week's episode was really something special. From beginning to end, it was all just the festival. The school's combined cultural / art / sports festival, the Katsuda Sauce Festival, all wrapped up into one. No opening credits, no end credits. This is something pretty special. And it's kind of a little bit silly when you stop to think about it, because this episode is just entirely the big game where Yuki is working together with Naka, the little pink-haired girl, to beat her older brother, the president of the student body, in this crazy game of cops and robbers in costume. Now, with all of the crazy potential things to happen in the near future, if you've read the manga, you might be wondering, why on earth would they dedicate all of their available runtime to this here in this episode? Well, it's because this is the moment where everything comes together and Yuki realizes she is now her own normal girl. So let's dive into it. Naka desperately wants to be friends with Yuki. She feels completely out of place in her own home, which is this long-standing ninja clan with all kinds of special abilities and the likes, and she feels completely weak and out of place. And because she and her brother have absolutely horrible communication skills, not only does she think that her brother dislikes her, she is also missing all of the obvious signs that he's an absolute siscon and deserves to go to prison. So feeling completely isolated, feeling like she doesn't have anywhere where she could potentially learn who she really is, be herself, have some girlfriends for crying out loud, this new girl, Yuki, who is obviously very special, very powerful, she's gotta be from some other kind of clan, she's gotta come from some kind of background where she's been able to break free, because she's so obviously not a normal girl. Naka really wants to be friends with her, and lo and behold, has the opportunity to explore that kind of a relationship, that friendship with Yuki. And Yuki, being the dense gal that she is, not knowing any better because of her time as an assassin, she's like, yeah, sure, I'll be your friend, without realizing really what that means. And it's thanks to Hideyoshi, who reveals to her, look, a friend is someone that you can be silly with. A friend is someone that you can do all kinds of things with. A friend is someone that you can be yourself around. A friend opens up all kinds of possibilities for you, like my friends right here. We are the Three Stooges, and sure, we might laugh and do a whole lot of silly stuff, but really these are the guys that have stuck with me even at my absolute worst, at my absolute lowest. I would not be the man that I am today without them. They are great. And Yuki then begins to think, wait a second, that's the kind of person that Naka's looking for. And ultimately, that's the kind of person that I would like to have more of in my life. Yuki already feels that way about Hideyoshi and his sister, but what about more people? For a girl who wants to be a normal girl, having friends, well, that's a normal thing to do. And she needs to grab a hold of that and be honest with herself. And which then leads us to the crazy climax of this episode. The events of the game are rather silly and really nothing all that great to write home about. The president, using his amazing ninja skills and his huge body, is able to just toss people left and right all the way across the field to the other side, where they are captured and put in as prisoners. And you would think that someone would at least have the good sense to run and tag some of these people out in order to give the robbers a chance to win, but that doesn't happen until Yuki and Naka are the last ones there, and Naka switches places with Yuki using her special ability to go to prison, which completely breaks her brother's brain, because he's like, I threw my most beautiful, amazing sister, I've completely ruined her, it's all Yuki's fault, it's all my fault, God! He just short circuits, and Yuki is not sure what to do about this, which then leads to a 10-minute lull where everyone's watching and not jeering. Yeah, a little bit silly. But Yuki finally goes head-to-head against the president, matches him strength for strength, and using her own superior skills, manages to throw him, rushes to Naka, basically to tag her out, but no, really, it is to tell her, I want to be your friend, which is a beautiful moment, but she's forgotten the rules of the game, or didn't quite fully understand them, that she needed to fully tag Naka out, take her out of the box, and instead she gets shoved in by the president, and the president wins the game. However, it's really Yuki and Naka who have won the overall story, because now they have solidified their friendship. And as everyone is celebrating the end of the festival with this gorgeous beauty who on earth is she? Who is this Nazca? Oh boy, those who have read ahead in the manga definitely know who this gal is. As she's singing a beautiful concert that everyone is celebrating to, Yuki and Hitoshi share a moment atop the school, where Hitoshi reminds her that we will have a chance to win this festival next year. We can beat the president. It's going to come again. And for Yuki, who doesn't want this moment to end, to realize that there is another day. Not only is there another day, but there's another year. She is no longer in this world of assassins. It's no longer about simply living in the moment, but it's also about living for tomorrow. Yuki's worldview has grown tremendously, and so as a result, she as a person has grown tremendously in this moment. And so this episode is fairly straightforward with what it wants to communicate to you. Yuki is growing as a person. She now has a proper girlfriend outside of the immediate people within Hitoshi's circle, and Grace, who is, well, Grace. And by being able to accept that she does not want this amazing day to end, that she wants another cultural festival, and by accepting that there is a tomorrow, and that there is a next year, and that she can continue to have these amazing experiences and build up incredible friendships, this is Yuki accepting a normal world, a normal life, something that she would have been unable to do previously. And this then sets up a lot of the slice of life and rom-com stuff to come in later chapters and in later episodes, I should hope. We're going to have to see how the anime adapts the material from the manga from this point on, but this is a tremendous turning point for Yuki. And so as far as good insights and writing advice that writers can take away from this episode, one of the things I would immediately point out is this, is that big turning moments for characters don't necessarily need to be huge and grandiose. When we think about what is happening with Yuki atop the school with Hitoshi looking down the festival, it is presented very beautifully and very grandly. However, when you stop to think about it, this is not some big, huge moment where she has defeated one of the 7 dragon fangs and has managed to prove that she has moved on from assassins, nor has Hitoshi dropped down to one knee and confessed they have not smooched, nor has there been any sort of huge grand declaration that Yuki is now friends with Naka. It was all very simple. This is a beautiful moment to bring together and commemorate just how far Yuki has come. It's not big, it's not grandiose, but it's poignant. And that's one of the things that authors need to think about when it comes to writing good mile markers that demonstrate just how far their characters have come. They don't need to be big moments, but they need to be poignant, meaning that these moments truly mean something for these characters. You can tell that they've changed. You can tell that they've realized something about themselves, that they've realized a part of their adventure, and that it should communicate to the audience that from this point on, things are moving forward. We're not moving back. We're not rolling around in circles by that same mile marker. We are moving ahead. That is what a poignant moment is. That can be communicated through the imagery, through the emotions, through the dialogue, through the action, whatever you feel works best for that particular moment. Poignant moments will differ from poignant moments, the same as there's no one true way to write any good action sequence. It depends on the story, depends on the character, depends on the time, depends on what you are trying to communicate. But again, just remember, these poignant moments don't need to be big, they just need to resound. Now, some criticism that I will actually draw from this episode are really two things. Coming back to what I said last week with Hitoyoshi and his friends, talking about how he's one of the three stooges with his buddies is great and all, but I want to see more of that. His whole explanation of what friends are to Yuki would be way more impactful if we got more of who his friends are, if we had seen more shenanigans with Hitoyoshi and his pals. Then it would have worked. If you want your side characters to convey anything important or meaningful to your audience, we need to spend more time with them. A story lives or dies by its characters, and messages fall flat or soar based on the characters that are presenting them. So the better that we understand your characters, the more that we come to know them and come to like them, not only does that make us want the story to be really good and we're going to be along for the entire ride, and not only does that help to uplift your story, but characters who feel real to us are able to communicate messages a whole lot better without it feeling preachy or feeling like we've just suddenly hit a wall of text. Another big criticism that I have is the sports festival itself. The idea of a cops and robbers game against one almighty student body president is really cool. I like it because you would have been able to see him show off all of his skills and really just pummel the student body. And if we had gotten Yuki and Naka working together to tag people out and bring them back on out and really make this a real competition between them and the president, you could have then set up some really interesting situations. What I myself would have done is, while you have this back and forth, this game of attrition, where the president finally just goes full beast Hulk mode and then really sweeps the field, throwing everyone, trying to get Yuki, but Yuki keeps dodging around, and so he's just forced to throw everyone else. He completely overwhelms Naka because she can't tag everyone else out. And if Yuki gets caught, well, then that's the end. So she then goes to save Yuki, which then leads to the whole switcheroo, and then as the president's just hulking out, Yuki puts him in his place, which will then help to solidify again just how powerful and how great Yuki is as an assassin, as one of the greatest assassins in the world. But it would also then make sense with what's happening within the game. It would have added more tension, more action, a little bit more comedy as well, and strategy on the parts of both sides, which then actually would have fit in really well with Yuki as she then realizes, oh my gosh, what Naka did for me is something that a friend would do for another person. She wants to be my friend. I completely misunderstood what friends actually mean. I need to apologize to Naka and tell Naka, I truly want to be your friend. This isn't just a one-time alliance. We are friends. And that would have brought out a little bit more of the emotion within the scene, and it would have fit in well with Yuki, who is so single-minded that she would then have consciously made a really horrible mistake that would have led to the student body losing against the student body presidents. It would have worked. You could have made this all fit together totally well. But, well, we instead get brains going poof and Yuki not understanding rules, and then she and the student body president are just glaring at each other for 10 minutes straight. That's not really interesting. And yes, I know that the episode jumps over that 10-minute stretch to play it off for a joke, but it's a joke that kind of falls flat, especially when you, again, realize all the potential that would be there if you really delved more into this game. So my advice would be is that if you're going to have a battle, or if you're going to have a game that helps to lead to an emotional moment, don't just focus on the emotional moment, but pay attention to how the game or the fight can help to build up that tension and really draw out more of these characters to make that emotional moment land with way more oomph, because again, the better that we know these characters, the more power they have. And sports action scenes and fight action scenes allow you to actually draw a lot of these characters to the forefront, because those moments of action, those moments of passion are so raw and so telling of who these characters could be. So, unfortunately, those are two missed opportunities within this particular episode. However, for myself, I still really did enjoy it because, again, the heart of this episode is being able to see that Yuki is now embracing being a normal girl. However, it is still something that could have been tweaked, could have been altered in order to bring out all the potential within this particular story. They adapted the manga faithfully for this episode. But again, an adaptation looks to see how it can take the original story and make it even better with the strengths of the new medium that you're using. And anime can bring a whole lot more action, a whole lot more speed to the pacing and character dynamics that would have just fit perfectly with the overall story, with the situation, and would have helped to elevate the emotional moments at the end of the episode. But, well, that's just my opinion right there. So I want to hear your opinions. What did you think of this episode of Kimi wa Meido-sama? And what are you hoping to see as we now move on, as Yuki is now accepting that she is a normal girl? What kinds of rom-com shenanigans or slice of life shenanigans do you think we're going to get to? Or are we going to get tossed right now back into the dark world of assassins because we've been having way too many funs, laughs, and giggles and blushes for far too long? It's time to go back to the dark stuff. I want to hear what your thoughts are in the comments. In the meantime, if you would like to support the work that we do here, then please make sure that you like, share, subscribe if you haven't already done so, or check out the books that I have published. Links for them are in the description below. And until the next video, all, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing, and tschüss.